Okay, so yes, our topic today is going to be gender. Um, Now, this is a little bit complicated because um, I feel like if you have no idea where I'm starting from, I actually made another video. Well, there's probably two videos that are relevant. But the one I think that you should watch is the one, it's called like the non non-white woman of color who I can't remember what I called it. But go watch that video. I explain a lot of the same, I explain the context for this video. Um okay. So the big idea here is what is gender, I suppose, to a black woman, like a biologically black woman, especially in America. Now, also, I want to make a caveat here because I think that this might help you kind of understand. I actually just saw a video, and I think that what is happening in the video is very relevant. So the video is it's called Maya. So there's a singer, her name is Maya. And she gives this, he's like a political, or he was like a MTV political commentator. And Maya has this song called like My Love Is Like Whoa. So she actually is giving this Carson guy a lap dance. And but the way that the camera is focused, you can actually see all of these other people in the audience. So you see like Jessica Simpson, you see there's this other actress, like she's in the audience, and you all see how they're reacting to it. Like he's kind of freaking out. Another scenario that's similar to this, if you haven't seen this, you should go watch it. These are in the description box, so please go like watch these for yourself to see what I'm talking about. So it was like it was Destiny's Child, so it was Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle. They did a live performance of Cater to You, and Beyonce is dancing with who's the guy from the TV show with Taraji P. Henson? He's an actor, I can't remember him. Then you have Kelly dancing with Nelly, and then you have Michelle dancing with Shaq. And in this live performance, all three of these ladies have like really, really skin ass tight dresses, and the men were just like going for it. Now, I would kind of say the same thing is happening with like Carson Daly. The point is, though, we don't actually see this. I mean, as a society, we don't see this very often in terms of the public admiration of like, in a sense, it's like the sexuality of black women, but in this case, I would actually argue it's like the sensuality of black women. So it's not like othering these women where you're like, oh, you're just a piece of me. It's almost like the desire that you see these men exhibiting toward these women. Now, there's something else that happens like in the real world, right? Where let me not even say the real world. I would just say like my worlds, my lived experience, because like I walk around pretty much like this, right? Where it's like I'm not really doing too much. There's not like a lot happening here. It's definitely not giving like bombshell in any way. At the same time, if you are kind of like a beauty snob and you know you're kind of into high fashion, you would kind of see the potential, sort of thing. It isn't for everyone. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and argue that my look is for everyone. It is definitely not. At the same time, I haven't really come across too many people that I couldn't pull. If that makes sense to you, then it does. If it does not, I don't know. I don't feel like I need to argue about that, because I've lived in my shoes. But that's not the point either. There's a whole other thing where I feel like I have gone beyond like sexualizing myself, if that makes sense. I feel like I've lived a life enough where I understand like what I like, what I want, what I don't like, what is attractive to me, what is not attractive to me, like what I am looking for. And also I feel like I'm an extremely great thirst trapper. I really feel like I am. And here's one of the, let's get back on topic though, like why am I even making this particular video? I was thinking about this today, and I felt like I wanted to talk about it a little more, because I think that some Black women are under this guise that you need to have a bust down wig, you need to look a particular way, you need to dress a certain way, your body type needs to be a certain way. And once you have all of those things, then you are attractive. But if you don't have those things, you are not. And then we also see like some other things happening though, because a lot of the biggest and most popular and most like sexy celebrities right now, you've got like Meg the Stallion, who's got this super curvy body, or you've got like Tyla, who I guess she's like cut all her hair off now and is like bone thin. Okay, so she's really attractive. But then we also have like Doce, who's like the big rapper girl right now, and it's like she's also really pretty. We got like Thames, right? And she's like dark chocolate brown and like very curvy and like completely Nigerian. It's like she's really pretty. So it's, you got all of these different symbols. You got the Beyonce. It's like all of these different symbols of Black women that are everywhere, and they're all happening right now. And I don't think that everyone is like as hyper aware maybe as like I am, because like I personally am looking for that media representation, and so I find it. But I like to scour the YouTube playground for like up and coming creators, and man, I'm finding like the new girls, and they seem so confused. Like they don't get it. Like they don't get it. And I think like one of the biggest disparities is them not being able to see like the middle ground for like everyone. What's a better way to say that? Like, if you look out into the yonder, like I feel like for some reason, a lot of things that are Meghan Markle end up coming up on my timeline. I have no idea. I don't follow any Meghan Markle posts. So like, I'm like, don't recommend enough times, and hopefully the algorithm will get it. But it's like, you see all of these images of her in her natural state. She looks very much so like rolled out of bed, and she's still really pretty. Now, I don't understand why Black women are not, like most Black women are not in that place where they feel like they too could just roll out of bed and be pretty to a man. Like why, like at least to most straight men, like you're going to be like, they like, well, the thing that because you are female, that is the part that makes you like attractive. If that's not clear, it's nice when you look better and you look prettier and you, I don't know, you do whatever to be more, whatever you want to be more of that. But like, also if you're not, you're still like a girl, you're still a woman, you're still female, it still makes you attractive. That's the baseline. So it's cool to play into, I see these themes, the soft life, the extra this, the Black woman with a wig, or whatever the new shit is, you know, the 16 million step face wash and all the bullshit, right? Like, and it's, I mean, do all of those things if that's what makes you feel something. But there's another thing that's very strange as well, because I do feel like on the gender and sexuality spectrum, right, we have more people introducing themselves as like trans, as like LGBTQIA, as all of these things. And because people are so unfamiliar with the terms, with the like lifestyle, whatever that means, a lot of those things are simply about like sex. And I think that like something that is misunderstood to so many people is like you can't actually have sexual preferences if you're not having sex. And like a lot of people on the internet like are not having sex. So like why are you sitting here talking about sexual preferences or somebody else's sexual preferences? Or like I've heard people say things like, oh, she acts like a lesbian or something, like, or he acts like it's like, I do think that you could describe maybe like a male's characteristics or something as being like feminine. If you say that, I understand what you're saying. But like, unless that man is like sleeping with another man, then calling him a homosexual isn't a thing. Like you're just stretching there because you're conflating gender and sexuality. Like sexuality is about sex, and I keep hearing this, and I think it's from a lot there. I know there's a lot of people who are like very small-minded, and it could be just that part of coming from like an extremely like liberal place where maybe there are just a lot of people who are like over sexualized. So therefore it's kind of like you're already starting from this place where you're like so far beyond everybody else that's like what they're saying is just like wow, like you're just wow. But it just keeps coming up for me because like as I as I meet new people, like they don't know how to interpret this, like, and I feel like it's very frustrating to me because the only examples that they have are like, I wouldn't even call them like hyper. I think that like Black women with bust downs, to me it's not giving like I'm so feminine. To me it's giving I want to be anything except for myself, which is another reason I just completely appreciate there's like a law or something in terms of like African beauty pageants where they are now no longer allowing Black women to wear weaves or wigs to compete in the beauty pageants. The reason that is important is because it is like really critical to promote African beauty in terms of like what the actual Black people look like. Like you can't be promoting a European beauty standard in an African beauty competition like that. It just doesn't work. It's kind of another very strange thing. I actually heard I'll call her like one of my godmoms, but she's white, and she was like talking about Beyonce. She's like, I can't understand. Every year it seems like she tries to get like whiter and whiter. Her hair gets blonder, her skin gets lighter. And she said this, and initially I was just like, oh, that's a strange thing for you to say, but I just took it in. And then like as I'm looking now, it's like her hair's like platinum blonde. It's like extremely straight. Does feel like she's getting lighter. I'm like, I kind of see what she was saying. Though I mean honestly, like I don't care, so it's not like I really don't know. I personally feel like maybe like when I was in high school or something I appreciated the Beyonce aesthetic, but I feel like where I am now, like I feel like I've just grown so far past Beyonce being an aesthetic figure for me. I think that I could just appreciate certain things that she's done in terms of like cultural relevance, like certain albums or certain things that she said or done with cinematography that I feel like impacted culture, and those things were like nice and important. But we've also moved past that. So I'm saying like looking back in a like reflective time period, like here is as a society where we were, and then Beyonce was able to put out this thing, and then it like it was like a new image that I hadn't seen in society. But now I saw it, and so then we moved forward with this new image. Like I feel like that's what Cowboy Carter is doing, the same thing, where she is putting out new imagery that certain people have not seen before, and it is shifting society for certain people. So some people who are American or who are living in America but who had never seen themselves in Americana now have, and she was able to be like a guiding factor for that. But let's go back to the gender and sexuality kind of piece for a second, because I feel like there's something happening with like the trad wives, the like chronically online femme girls, because they're not like talking or having opinions about anything. And it isn't because they don't have those opinions, it's because they're just not like sharing them online, and instead they're just promoting an aesthetic. I'm not even upset about that, but I'm simply saying that aesthetic goes both ways. Like I could, and maybe that is one thing I will continue to do with this channel, is like promote the like black, the African, the black version of that aesthetic. Like it's not just something that is like European, but also like I don't have to play into that. Like for instance, let me give you a really clear example. Um, I was actually going to talk about this, so I'll like just link that video before because I'm going to make content about it. But Sagan got a slushy machine. Now, this is just so fucking funny to me because like Sagan is just literally like the fashionista, like Habisha that you just gotta love. I mean, she had like Valentine's Day. She's like making little slushies with her slushy machine. The whole thing. It's just completely giving, right? Aesthetically, like I like it. I like to watch it. I think it's great. Like I don't spend like all my days or time like doing that, but you know, if I want to see something scrolling that's aesthetically pleasing. So it's strange to that's actually not a good way to say that. What am I trying to say? It exists basically in quite a lot of terms, as in there's multiple examples of this sort of aesthetic. And this aesthetic is, this isn't even an aesthetic. I feel like we just honestly need to have a better understanding of what it means and what it looks like to be a like working girl. Not a working girl like a fucking prostitute, because that's the way that the term used to be used, but literally a girl with a job. Okay, like a girl with a job and her own money. Like that is a literal space in society. And I think that so many people refuse, like they refuse that, especially on black women, especially like pretty black women, because like a woman, a girl with a job is like actually able to buy the things that she wants for herself without the reliance of a man. Now, if you're following like Russell Hartley or any of the other like, I would say like maybe more pro reality, like male content creators, they're not red pill at all, but they're talking about how they like to spoil their women and all of these things. A lot of men take pride in being able to like give their girlfriends things, like having this really, you know, pretty girl on their like as their partner is like the goal. But then what does it mean if there's just like a pretty girl who's just autonomous? Like she isn't, like she has nothing to do with you. Like she exists, but she exists like without you, like independent of you. And I think for a lot of men, this is very confusing. They have to be like, oh, she's broken. Oh, she's a lesbian. Oh, she's a this. Oh, she's a that. Oh, here are all of the problems with her. These are the reasons she's not attached to a man. Not because like she's alive and she's autonomous, therefore she could just like live in the world as like a woman. Instead, it's like something is wrong with her as a female because she isn't attached to a man. And like I wanted to talk about this for a moment because like isn't that like I look out into the world, like I always see attractive guys. They're always around. And I'm pretty sure like they always see me. I definitely don't think that like I'm not everyone's type. Like that's like not a thing at all. But also like I'm, if it's not clear, like I'm not repulsive. Like I have a very like pleasant, like kind of, how can I call it, like almost a contentment to me where like I can be very palatable for a lot of people. Can be, like there's potential there. And I feel like there's a real divide kind of happening, because if you didn't see it, I made a video that was called like it was about the 4B movement for black women and why I think it's safe for black women to participate in the 4B movement. Now a lot of guys like came into the comments after they were so mad, oh my god, like why are you promoting this or blah blah blah. I don't know, they were saying a bunch of things. I didn't really read their comments or respond to them, but that's what they were saying. And then I also keep hearing like a lot of these things where people are Like, if you haven't heard some of the new songs on the Drake album, it's like Drake he's like promoting like Latinas, which I don't have an issue with at all. But I just, for me personally, I think that like my femininity and like my womanness is just not really the same as like white women or Latina women. So I kind of personally feel like if you're on that team, if that is your preference, I would never be. And I am perfectly okay with that. I also think one of the issues that comes in is when like some people really struggle to, not some, this is a men thing. Men really struggle to sit with the reality that like they could be attracted to more than one thing. As in, like, how could I like her? Let's just say she's purple, and then I see her over there and she's blue. Purple and blue aren't the same. Purple and blue are different. Or let's even make it something so different, like purple and like yellow. And it's like, oh my God, I like this purple, therefore I could never like this yellow. Ew, yellow, yay, purple. But then you see something like yellow and you're like, oh my God, but that yellow thing is like so great. Wow. Like, and then it's like, but I already thought the purple thing was great. And then society tells you, you can never like yellow and purple. And so you're stuck, right? I feel like that's kind of the issue that men are dealing with right now, where everyone wants to believe that they have a type and they just have never seen like a baddie from another group. And so then it's just like, then they see one and they're like, oh my God, my type could be something, you know what I mean? It's just, it's kind of ridiculous really when you think about it. But I wonder what you guys think. I'm actually gonna go like watch the video that I made before, because I feel like I might be able to unpack a few more themes and explain them to you. But that one, I want to take it off my chest now because it was like a higher level like idea. And I guess the takeaway message I want to add to this particular like piece is that like, you just as a woman in the world, you're going to have a lot of men are going to be attracted to you just because you're a woman in the world. Now obviously like there's a base level of like dusties who you want to avoid at all costs, but I would also kind of argue that most men you probably want to avoid at all costs. And that has nothing to do with like you being like deficient in any ways. It's about you having discernment and you realizing that most people aren't going to be good for you. And sometimes you let people in and they are very destructive toward you. They can really have a way of like turning your shit upside down. Like, trust me. Like sometimes it can get bad. Oh, you'll see. Girl.